Hello everyone, my name is Pacha and welcome to the final tour of Wahat Jamila. In this video we will go through the entire zoo. We'll spend a day in my desert zoo that I created over almost a year ago now. For reasons why that was so long, I will go over later. But yeah, we will go through the entire zoo, look at all the stuff, all the exhibits, habitats, all the backstages, all the rooms and things like that. And another important thing is, when you are watching this video right now, this zoo will be available on the workshop for you to download, to look at it yourself, to maybe change things, use it as a zoo for your own ideas. There is also a space that I will show later in this tour where you can easily expand the zoo, connect new paths and make new areas if you so wish to. So there are possibilities here to make the zoo even bigger. I decided to get to an end here with the zoo after almost a year, as I said. I built everything I wanted to build for the zoo. I wanted to keep it small for my own plans that I had, but there is room to expand. There is a lot of space of the map still open for expansion, so to say. So I will show it later where you can do that. But first of all, let's start with our tour, and we are starting here in the small parking lot. Actually, I was thinking multiple times if I would expand this parking lot, but this was supposed to be a small zoo. Now it's kind of grown to be a mid-sized zoo, kinda ish from its budget, but not from the amount of animals. We will see that later, because most of the animals that you see in this zoo are from the aridanimalpack, I think it was called, or the Africa 2.0 pack. This was why the zoo started, to have a zoo for these new African animals that we got with the arid pack from the desert. Later we added also some animals from the base game. We added some animals from, I think, the grasslands pack and from the Africa pack, which was of course Africa 1.0. But mainly the animals you hear are all from the arid pack, and these will be the main animals that you see throughout the zoo, but there are some other ones sprinkled throughout. But yeah, let's not spend any time longer on this little parking lot. Let's go to the entrance, and in hindsight, or now in retrospective, I would have maybe done the entrance a little bit different. You see here we have these two towers. This is supposed to be, I think it is called a bird tower in Arabian culture. You would cultivate birds in there. We have our little counter over here with the zoo name. And I would have done this entrance a little bit different now that I have more experience. But this was the first thing that I was building when I started the zoo, and was also my first time that I would dive into Arabian, North African architecture, Middle Eastern architecture. And whenever you do something for the first time, you build a new architecture, you build a new thing for the first time, it can be a little bit challenging. You don't know all the quirks and things and little details you would normally do for things you're more familiar with. For my example, it's more European, American architecture and stuff like that, more natural, rural architecture. But I think for what it's worth, it serves its purpose, and we will later see an area that was made by the amazing Mr. Gecko, which really sells the idea of an Arabian town in the middle of the desert. And in the middle of the desert this zoo is because the name Wahat Jamila translated roughly means beautiful oasis, and the idea was for the zoo, if you're new to the channel maybe, that this is a big oasis, a big lake in the middle of the desert, as oases are. And they built a zoo around it, so we go around the whole oasis, around the whole lake in a circle, and then come back at the end here at this space, and we will go in that direction. But first, to do that, we have, of course, the Planet Loo by Lider. Yes, this was a toilet, or this is a toilet building that was named by the wonderful Mr. Lider. You maybe know him from YouTube and from the community. He named this in one of my streams he visited, and he wanted to name it Planet Loo, and I couldn't resist him. I love him. He's my best man. And on the other side, we have a little gift shop that we've built last last episode, if you haven't watched that. I know not many people have watched that episode, I can understand that, but I rebuilt this gift shop there at the end, and it really is, just a small gift shop using a lot of the gift shop pieces that we got with the, I think, with one of the packs last year. I can't remember from, I think Eurasia or Oceania. But yeah, a small gift shop with stuff you can buy, t-shirts, mugs, hats, all stuff like that, some earthware, some pottery and stuff, things like that. Just really have a gift shop basically, because what is a zoo without a gift shop? And before we go on the real tour, we also have this little viewing point over here, which originally was just to look over the lake, but Mr. Gecko expanded this lake to house a family of lemurs that you can see here in the background. I'm sure they don't climb at the moment because the climbing always has to be resetted a little bit. So let's try this. Maybe that will reset it and they will start to climb, but they can come up to here and sit here, so you can get really close to them. It's really cool, and we will see this exhibit throughout the whole experience. When we wander around, we will see it all the time, so that's also really, really cool. But yeah, let's get started. Past this amazing rhino statue from the Africa pack, we get to our first two exhibits, and let me start left or right. I think we start right first, which are the African porcupines. And this is what I think still one of my favorite exhibits in this zoo, with this raised platform. And them doing their thing here, shaking their quills, is really cool. They can, as you can see, they can access upper platform over here. They can climb up, and they also have a little burrow, I think, over here. Yeah, they have a little burrow over here, which they can access if they so wish to. And you can get, I don't want to spoil anything, we can also get up here to a little shadowy place, a little over roof place, was what I was searching for, where we can also get another look, a little overview look over the porcupines. And in the last episode also, I talked about in the last episode that I will show all the backstages I built in the episode, because last episode was also the backstage episode. We also have a little backstage for the porcupines. Very simple, nothing major here, just a small shelter area for them to hang out in during the night time. And there's a piece of fence that has to go. Sorry for that. I checked to everything is showable, but I think I forgot that one. But yeah, really love that one. Really cute. Definitely want to build for porcupines in the future again, because they are really cool animals, and Frontier did a fantastic job with them. But let's switch over to the other side, where we have the adorable, yet sometimes a little bit stupid looking stand cat with their adorable white face, like if they run into a wall. Hello. But yeah, this idea for this exhibit was to have like a bit of a town square, or a courtyard behind some towns that got occupied by the sandcats. You have the well in the middle. Now we have a real well piece from the barnyard animal pack, so I could switch that out. We have some steps here, some caves, we have some houses, and they can actually also go up there and sleep in front of the porch, so that's also really cute. And before we go over, landing on the roof, we have their backstage with two separation cages. Separation cages, as you would do for cats, to separate them during nighttime or when you are not breeding them. So very simple also here. And they can also go up there, they can also go under there. So the hitbox really works well, and these little pots and earthware are meant to that they would also probably sleep in there if they would be real life. Of course, here they can't. And also really like this immersion here, that you have this gate, this entrance gate, and then you have the glass wall and the path going through. And if I set the time right, you can't, if you're standing right, you can't really see that there is glass here, and you would think that it goes on into the exhibit, that you can just walk through there. So yeah, really cool. And we also of course have some other I don't know if they are under here. No, they aren't. We can also have a little view into their little shelter under here, and of course up here, so we can see them. and we can also hear them barking in the background, because if you don't know, sand cats are one of the only cats that make barking noises like a dog, which is really cool. And we have another viewing point over here with a little stair for children if they want to get a little bit higher. And here we can also see the sand cat coming up here, sleeping there in the corner. They do that occasionally, which I think is also cool. And yeah, another thing that I tried to do throughout the zoo, because we are in the desert, is to give shade to as many viewing areas as possible. You will later see that on some points I forgot to do that. The further we go into the zoo, the more I kind of forgot it. But in the first parts, I still try to give shades to our visitors, because of course we are in the hot African sun and it can really burn. I noticed this, how hot the sun can be in Vienna this year, so I definitely try to give a better experience to our guests also. But yeah, here we have already our big community exhibit, which looks at the moment very tiny, but in this exhibit we house, as you can see, the dromedary camel, we house the addax and the moor antelope, or the dama gazelle. There's another name, and they are two exhibits, and I don't know how you landed there because you have posted here, but yeah, these are two exhibits that can be separated but can also be joined to make one big exhibit. And the thing is that the addax and the dama gazelle can't enter this side, but normally the dromedary camel can only be on this side, so we can separate them a little bit more. But what we also have here is camel rides. I was a bit, yeah, wasn't really sure if I wanted to do that, but I thought, hey, it is still happening in some zoos, and if it's done well, and if it takes the animals' care in mind, and if the animals are not forced to do it, I think it can be a cool thing for kids also. So we have a little bit of a camel ride over here, just a little roundabout. Here's the access gate for the camels, and so that we can give our guests a little bit of a cool experience riding a camel in the desert, as it is quite common in Egypt, I think. And before we forget it, let's go also into indoor area for the camels, which is an open space, so the camels can go in and out as they please, or the addax can do that, as you can see here. Also very simple. There was a lunch break here for our visit for the keepers. They had a little bit of a lunch break over here, but yeah, nothing really. I really love the addax gazelle. Sorry for digress, but I really love the addax gazelle. They did such an amazing job with the horns and everything. One of my favorite hoof stock in the entirety of the game. But yeah, a little of a lunch break, nothing special. That is what I wanted to say. So, moving on. We have our big habitat over here for the dromedary camel, and it looks a bit overcrowded at the moment. That is because for some reason the addax and dama love to spend time over here on this side. Whenever I open the gate, most of them rush into here to spend their time here, probably because of the water. But yeah, this is why it looks a bit more crowded, and maybe I get rid of these stone fences on these both sides to make it a little bit more open, to give them even more space. Maybe I will do that, or you can do that if you want to play the zoo. And you can see we have a lot of different colorations for the dromedary camel. We have a melanistic one, of course. We have a bee-palled one, a little bit of a darker one, and two normal ones. So I tried to get as many of the colorations in here that came with the dromedary camel, which all look amazing. In fact, the whole animal looks amazing, and I think it's a cool idea with having all these different animals here together in one picture. But moving on, we of course have our little islands over here, and they can actually walk across here. We come to their second enclosure, or second part of the enclosure. I don't know what that was, but this is the other side, which is, as I said, meant for the dama gazelle and the addax, and is modeled after, I think it's a zebra enclosure. I think it's zebras in Zoo Berlin, so the big Berlin Zoo, with the exact building over here. Caesar created a similar thing, as he also recreated that, and you can judge, of course, which one is better. But yeah, I really like it, the idea. It really feels Middle Eastern. And then we have this moat over here, which I think I could make smaller if I want to, which separates the animals and gives a little bit of a boundary-free experience to the animals, by also giving them enough space. And of course, we care for the security of our guests, and we also have fans here so that they don't step over and fall into the moat. But really a cool experience over here, as you can see. they can walk both through, and if you put two locks in there, yeah, you can secure that, and then they are separate if you want to. And you, my friend, you should be on this side. Let me quickly do that. On this very crowded side. I have to separate them again once again. But yeah, moving on. We have of course another view at the lemurs. I want to say monkeys, but lemurs. See them running across on the other side to the other island. There are, I think, 3 islands here for them to walk around. And we get to go that way. Now we go that way first. We get to our black rhino and cheetah exhibit. You can also already see the rhino in the back there. Yes, this is a cohabit exhibit for cheetahs and black rhinos, similar to the one in Leipzig Zoo, and I think there's another zoo in, I think, Great Britain who does that, who cohabitates them. But yeah, it's not a common mix, but it can be done. It can be done successfully. Leipzig proves that for years now. There's the cheetah, if you don't believe me. And here on this view we have a little mud bath where the rhinos of course can cool off if it's hot. If it's a very hot day, you have a little mud bath over here. And we have, I think, 3 yards, 2 for the rhinos and cheetahs together, and then you will see that later another yard for the cheetahs themselves if they want to escape the rhinos, if they want to get away. And yeah, this is the area for you guys later where you could easily take this gate away, open up this wall over here, and if you want to expand the zoo over in that direction, whatever direction you want to, this is basically a dead end here at the moment. We go into the Rhino House in a moment. Of course. But you can easily expand it, make another roundabout that connects over here maybe, for example, and thus making this zoo even bigger. So just delete these 2 fences or a little bit of a wall, and you can easily, create your own desert zoo based on mine as a foundation. But yeah, then moving on, we have another viewing area over here, as we have multiple of them, and we also have this gate, this fence where you can also see through, but you can't see through that good. And we see the cheetah running and jumping and climbing the rock, which is also something I haven't seen before, but hey. You see also climbing cheetahs. And then we go past a little aviary for, I think, some Turakaus species. I'm not too familiar with the difference between the different species here. And we go into the Rhino House, as it says here. We of course have to be a little bit more silent because rhinos are very much sensitive to sound and distractions and new things, and can went aggressive very fast. So we have a very simple Rhino House here with 2 separation stalls, which are big enough. They look not that big, but they are big enough for rhinos. We of course have a little moat over here, a little bit of greenery on this side, and if we follow this path, we get to the actual backstage where we have another separation area over here, which can be connected to this outside door. If you swing over this fence, then you can get the rhinos passed through here to the outside area, where you could maybe come in with a truck or something and bring new rhinos or food or whatever you need in. And through the separation screen, we have the cheetah backstage. We have 3 cheetahs in here, so we have 3 separate cages for them. Of course, caution behind this line, which are all connected to the outside. Sadly, of course, thanks to the hitboxes in Plant Zoo, they can't get inside here, but in real life they would be able to go inside and be cared for. I think nothing in this side, is just the exit to the other backstages. So we go in again. Hello, my friends. We go here and we go outside and look at the rhinos from the different angles. So we quickly fly through here and get to the two major flying cheetah, 2 major viewing areas for this area, which is for the 2 yards. So we have this one with a little of a dry mode over here, which is secured by hot grass, which keeps the cheetahs and rhinos in place. We can also, of course, get a nice look at the lemur island. I always say monkey, it's lemurs, of course. And I didn't even said we have ringtail lemurs and black and white ruffed lemurs over here. And on the other side we have the second yard where we can also see our rhinos over here, and a cheetah, which is a very cool sign. And I hope the cheetah doesn't get trampled by the rhino. But yeah, we have our 2 black rhinos over here and the cheetah, and there should be another cheetah. I don't know where he is, probably behind there somewhere, or in this little separation area where we go now. Before we go into the Cairo market, which was the project that Mr. Gecko worked on and which we already did a nice tour of, so sorry, I will not go too in detail with this one. But first we go here. We have another, of course, viewing point over here. There are 2 sheets of the cheetahs. And then we have this little separation area for them where they can escape basically through here. They can escape into this area and stay for themselves if they so wish to. But before we enter the market, we have another exhibit over here, which you can already see is for the Nile monitor. And thanks to the climate we are in and to the temperatures we are in, we can keep these reptiles outside without any additional heating areas. We of course still have some shading areas for them to cool off, but luckily we can display them outside, and we even have some underwater viewing over here, where they would dive, if they could dive in Planet Zoo, which, if you don't know, only the Asian water monitor can dive. The Nile monitor never got the ability. I don't know why they never added it to the Nile monitor, because they're basically based on the same rig. But yeah, maybe also they changed that in a recent update and I didn't notice that, but as far as I know, they clearly can't dive. But I think I really like how this turned out. A little bit of a crevice in the rocks, basically, where these Nile monitors made themselves a home. And of course, backstage area, I want to show that. Or I'm landing on the roof, as always. Yeah, a little bit of a backstage area, nothing special. We have 2 separation cages over here, very minimalistic, as we would need, as we don't need much for some monitors for some reptiles. Okay, moving on the rock again. Someone please count how often I land on roofs and stuff like that in my videos, and send me that number. Would be really interesting to see. But yeah, entering the Cairo market before we go there. This was a project made by Mr. Gecko himself, and a master of his kind. And as you can already see here, I showed it more and better in my dedicated tour video, which you can of course find in my channel not long ago. The lemurs can access this part and run through this tunnel overhead over the visitors into their indoor area, which is, or part of the indoor area, which is over here. And if we enter it, we have just so many details. We have some metalworks over here. We have fresh fruits, which also serves as an indoor area for the lemurs. And yeah, just look at that. It's so cool. So many details he put into here. He was in these countries. He visited these countries, so he has a better understanding of how everything works and looks. And I'm so glad that I got the time, or I got the chance to get him on board with this project. We have some exhibits here for scarab beetles. We have some, I think this is a death adder, I think. Is it called the death adder? Yeah, it's the puff adder. It's a puff adder, not the death adder, it's a puff adder. So we have some exhibits, hidden inside these houses, inside these crevices. And we have the main highlight, basically, for this exhibit, which is the fennec fox habitat, which they can also enter the indoor area under here. So really cool. He did really a lot of work and tried a lot of things to make this as immersive as possible, and I'm as I said, really thankful that I got him on board for that. And as I said, I will not go into every detail for this tour, as I have a dedicated tour on my channel, so if you want to see that, highly recommend watching this. We also have here the, I think, Desert Horn Viper, which came with the Arid pack, so yeah, really cool. Before we go there, which almost completes the tour already, we have to check out this area, which I added later to, finish this part of the zoo. We have another aviary over here with some hornbills, and then we have the, I think, most recent last 2 habitats, one in front for warthogs, and then the big savanna in the background, which we look at in a moment. But before we go do that, there we have the warthogs running under the visitor area through a tunnel. There was a point, there was something still that was missing in the zoo and which I didn't do it in a video, and Mr. Gecko asked me to finish this, and was the Zahara Grill, which was a restaurant he created, but he didn't have the time to make an interior, so he asked me to do that, if I could do interior for this place. And it was a little bit of a struggle. I hadn't really had ideas for it. I didn't know really what to do with it. But this last week I finally sat down and created an interior. Not my best work, but I tried with what I know and what I can. And yeah, this is basically the interior for the Zahara Grill. I think that could be done so much more, but I try to keep it simple. It's a small space, as you can see here, so not a lot of room to work with. These amazing pictures, I think, were made by Mrs. Haribo, an amazing creator in the Plant Zoo community. But yeah, I got some references from Arabian restaurants, Middle Eastern restaurants, and tried to infuse some of these ideas and designs into this build, and there could probably be done more. And if you want to upgrade this, if you want to change anything in this, feel free to do that. Feel free to rip everything out and make it your own. But yeah, this is my little Arabian restaurant over here, which of course you also can access from this area, and you can also look into the Lemur indoor area, and you can of course look also outside. So yeah, I hope I made you happy, Mr. Gecko. He really asked me to finish this interior, and I did it for him. But yeah, if you want to download this pack this zoo and want to change it, of course feel free. But yeah, let's moving on. We have two exhibits to watch and look at, and one of them is of course the Warthog exhibit over here, which doesn't have a backstage, so no point in looking at that. As you saw, it is split into two areas on both sides. This one with a little mud bath, which they can access through a tunnel underneath. And then we have the big savanna with, I think, Blue Wildebeest. We have the Gemsbok, and we have the Springbok. Yeah, I think that's all three species, which was the last big habitat that I built for the zoo, and which seemingly has no boundaries. But if you watch the video on that habitat, you know that there are boundaries. They're just hidden behind an earth wall. There you have, the fence, but from a guest perspective, which also serves as a spot for the restaurant to eat. So there are tables here to eat. This looks like it just goes into the distance and with no end. And I really liked it. I really liked how it turned out. It was my first take on a big savanna habitat. So really a lot of things to learn still. And before we move on, let's have a quick look at the backstage, which also I already did a big tour on, so I won't go through much to every detail. We have a big backstage based on the one from Leipzig Zoo for their hoofstock yards, with multiple rows of indoor cages to hold our various antelopes. And that's basically it for this part of the zoo. Let's quickly move on. Flying through here, and whoop, we are here. So this is the latest, newest part of our zoo. I really like the idea with having this mode, separating the savanna from the guest buff and using this mode as a habitat for another species. And now let's move on to the last two habitats already. One of them being for the Somali wild ass and Thompson gazelle. So another cohabitation habitat over here with a little bit of height changes here and there. We have a little of a raised area that you can demonstrate by this Thompson gazelle already. Thank you very much. And in front of this exhibit, we have a habitat, a very stinky habitat as it seems, for the meerkats, which basically is integrated into the habitat for both of them, for the wild ass and the Thompson gazelle, which also can be separated. But we have a little bit of a meerkat habitat here with a little mountain similar to the one for the porcupines, and which has very stinky food, so that needs to be cleaned up, please. And the idea is here that there would be a tunnel underneath the guest path, which would lead to this little house. There is no indoor area over here for the meerkats, but there would be one in there. But we also of course have multiple tunnels, and probably they already have digged out under the fence and through into this area over here. And this is basically the last backstage you're gonna look at for these 2 hoof stock, and then we are done with this zoo already. Yeah, this is the backstage for the wild ass and the springbok. Nothing fancy as always. It serves its purpose. It's utilitarian, as I always like to say. And that basically concludes our tour. I see on the timer we have half an hour, which is fine enough for such a zoo, and I don't want to make it any more longer. But yeah, this is, let me go out into the other perspective. This is Wahat Jamila, our desert zoo, and it's actually, as you can see, we still have a lot of space to work with. But in this space, I think, in this small space, we have a lot of detail, a lot of hidden things, a lot of ways and animals, and I'm really, really happy how everything turned out. I really enjoyed building in a desert zoo, building for African animals. People who know me know I'm not the biggest fan of African areas, because I've seen such many of them, so I'm a sucker for new and more underrepresented areas. But I really enjoyed building for African animals, and I think this area gave me the strength to build for more African animals in the future, which I will definitely do, and I already have some plans for that. Once some other things are finished, which will happen also in the future. But yeah, this was Wahat Jamila. As I said in the beginning, you can download the zoo now for yourself and look at everything more in detail, more closely yourself in your own time, or even change the whole zoo, expand the whole zoo as you like. And with that, I would call this video a day and also say goodbye to you. And thank you for listening, thank you for following through my zoo. This is the second zoo now that we finished after Isle of the Wild. So that means next week we will probably, most likely will go back to Raven Creek, to our main zoo, and continue building there. So until then, I wish you a great time, stay safe, and I say goodbye everyone.